podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Cardiff Central Podcast. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Cardiff Central Podcast. With you, it's not a new thing with me taking over Harley. I haven't booted him out or nothing like that. I'm just stepping in for a week, and we will discuss shortly why Harley is not here. But joining me, Ligi, as always, is Carwyn. Good evening, Carwyn. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not bad. Third podcast of the week, so getting a bit used to seeing your face now. This is the second time I've seen yours. How many jokes about Scarlets can I get in this pod as well?
It will be edited sharply if you try and get them in tonight, mate. No, it was a good laugh on Monday. It was a good laugh. It's good, Francis. I was saying before we started on Monday that last time Francisco joined us, it was just after Portugal got knocked out of the World Cup, and he'd done like a weekend of, like he said to us like 2 or 3 weeks before, at the end of the pool stages, I'll come back on. And then he'd obviously, like, Portugal played really well, and he was just doing interview after interview after interview, and he'd done like 48 hours straight. And it was us on a Monday night, and we started talking about something else, and I could see him on camera go, yeah, and I'm like, oh, we've got to keep him awake. We've got to keep talking to him. So he was with it this weekend, and I, to be honest, I could have done with the sleepy one, because bugger me, I had an absolute kicking on Monday. But yeah.
Yeah, the last time I spoke to Francisco was over a BBC phone. Well, actually, my own mobile, trying to get in touch with him while he was out in France, realizing he didn't have FaceTime to FaceTime audio call into the studio on a Friday night for Radio Wales, and him chasing around after Lauren Jenkins' mobile to call in. Because honestly, I can't express how difficult that day was. That show should have been really easy, and then it just went really difficult really quickly. But yeah, it was nice to see his face and speak to him in semi-person, I suppose.
Yeah. So what have you been up to this week, mate? Anything exciting, anything interesting to report this week?
Nothing much. I was working on radio and online for the Scarlets game on Saturday, so that was a bit annoying when you're not able to watch the Cardiff game, when you're having to listen to the Cardiff. So I was listening to Kenneth Davis's commentary, who was brilliant, obviously, in both languages, but I was listening to his commentary and wishing I was watching that one while watching the Scarlets out in France. But yeah, it was quite a fun day. Obviously, we spoke on the wrap about the frustrations of Scarlets, but yeah, listen to Cardiff's less than perfect performance. I think that's a fair way of it, but battling performance. So it's interesting to hear, but not, maybe I'd rather to watch it if I could have gone away with that.
Well, a long time ago, a couple of years ago, I was working on a Saturday night, and so I was following, like some of the national newspapers of Wales do a play-by-play kind of guide to the game, don't they?
Yeah.
So and all that kind of stuff. But it was obviously a guy sitting in a studio in Bristol or Gloucester or somewhere watching about 4 games, because I had like 3 or 4 different things all on my screen. So I had Scarlets in one, I had Gloucester in another, I had Harlequins in another, and then like I can't remember who was it. Anyway, at some point during the game, he got confused and put the wrong bit of commentary in the wrong game. So like in the Scarlets game, I was following but obviously I didn't twig for a while because I was following all of them. And there was something from like the Bristol game suddenly appeared in the Scarlets feed. And I just went, okay, yeah. And then after a couple of minutes, you kind of go, hang on, scroll back, comment deleted, copied, paste over to the other one. So yeah, there's I wouldn't want to do more than one game at a time, mate. That would confuse the hell out of me. But
Yeah, I nearly missed my update from Johan Lloyd's try because the producer said, "Oh, we'll come to you in 10 minutes," and I thought, "Okay, sorry, we'll come to you in five minutes or something like that." And this had been like quarter of an hour after the try, but the problem was the try came like 2 minutes after the previous update. So when they came to me, I was like, "To be honest, I haven't got much to say." And then I went, "Oh wait, I haven't actually mentioned Johan Lloyd scored."
I think
The
I went,
highlight of the game for Scarlett. I haven't actually mentioned that bit, but it was a good try.
I don't think this guy's a Scarlets fan, I don't think he's a Scarlets fan.
I'm not taking that. I'm completely neutral.
It's hard being neutral, mate. It's hard being. I take my hat off to you being neutral because I've tried doing it. I cannot do it at all. When it's a team, either your team or like, so I'm a Scarlet. So if it's the Scarlets or the Ospreys, nah, I'm either one side or the other. I can do it for Cardiff. I can watch a Cardiff game and enjoy the rugby. I can watch a Dragons game. You kind of enjoy a Dragons game because you're always thinking, yeah, that they something's going to happen, and underdogs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then I watch some of the English stuff, and it does just bore me.
Yeah, I kind of get your point. There's to be fair, the Scarlets one is more for me. I like winding people up, but especially my family and my partner's family. So my partner and her family are all Scarlets fans. My family pretty much all Scarlets fans. So it's more that I enjoy that I get the opportunity to just go. "Oh, so Ospreys played well on the weekend, or this year's derby results haven't exactly been ideal, although I was there at Swansea.com celebrating when Dan Edwards went over, which was maybe not what I should have been doing, but it was nice to rub it in a little bit.
You do know we got Christmas coming up, don't you? And Christmas is full of like the family time where you're going to have to sit in a room with all these people and talk about rugby at some point, and they're just going to keep reminding you about how many times Scarlets have beaten Cardiff this year.
Yeah, so we're going to the Boxing Day game at the Ospreys, so I'm really hoping for Ospreys win.
Oh, this is going to be
It'll
difficult.
So yeah, that's basically my Christmas is getting through Christmas Day and then praying that the Ospreys win on Boxing Day just to have something to brag about,
Right.
even though it's not even my team.
That's awful, mate. That's awful. Well, let me tell you about how my Christmas is going so far. Right. So tree is up, decorations are up, lights are up now, yeah, and all of that kind of stuff. And then, so we went to see Luminate last night at the Botanic Gardens. That was really cool. First time I've been to see that was really, really cool. So done all of that. Lights downstairs, and then my wife's developed an obsession with like lights inside ornaments, but you've got to switch them on individually. Yeah. So, and we can't have one. We've got to have a display, and then you can't have a display on one side of the room without something to balance it on the other side of the room. So I've now got to like switch the tree lights on, and then spend 10 minutes going around going click here, click, 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 and then like you've got to like switch everything off at the end of the night. But then I forgot that we've now got baubles with sodding lights in. So I switched everything off, about to leave the room, when you turn around and you go, well, there's a light. Where's the light coming from? And then you go like in a tree like this, trying to find where this sodding bauble is, which is a Father Christmas on a parachute. And you go, oh, there we go. That's that done. I'm in trouble now because my wife has just heard me talking about switching all the things. So my wife is literally stood there going, oh, yeah, she doesn't want to appear. There you go. There's my wife on the pod.
But they look really nice, don't they?
They do look really nice, mate. They do look really, really nice. Anyway, I'm doing a pod, love. I'm in the middle.
My obsession.
Oh my God. I'm in trouble now. Right. That's good timing, wasn't it? So let's stick to rugby, shall we? Let's do some rugby. So, yeah, bit of a tonking on the weekend. Let's start it with that. Tell me what you think about the first quarter of the game, and then tell me what you think about the rest of the game. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we'll come to the headline because the headline is biggest loss in Europe in 17 years, which doesn't look great. But the first 25 minutes, I was really impressed with Cardiff's performance. In between the 22s, really good, solid. Didn't do anything flash. Didn't do, there were a couple of nice passes, a couple of nice bits of play, but there was nothing that I thought, oh, you're pushing the boat out, you're trying too hard. It was really simple play, getting to the 22 quite regularly. The entries into the 22, getting those opportunities, getting within 5 meters. But the big difference I found in that start of that game in particular was, yes, we know Toulouse are accurate. Yes, we know they've got world-class players and players on another planet. But Toulouse's scramble defence versus Cardiff's was on a different level. That was a bit that I really noticed in the first quarter of the game. And in particular, you speak about little moments in the game that could turn the game around. Evan Daniel gets held up from a tap and go penalty 5 meters out. And in the current laws, the way that, since the dropout law, that is a huge momentum swing. Previously, go back to the scrum five, it's not actually that much difference. You're basically back at square one so long as you've got a half decent scrum, which Cardiff did on the weekend. But now you've gone from 5 meters out, held up over the line. You've got a 40-meter loss because that's that's where the kick ended up, and that's where you end up carrying it back is the 10-meter line pretty much. So that was a big momentum. The other one was Tom Ramos's tackle, which is brilliant. So there's a break down the right-hand wing. I want to say Hollows, gets really close, and then James Hughes cuts a brilliant line. Like Hadley Park, I assume Leo will appreciate this, but sort of Hadley Parks-esque off nine, that out to in line, cutting against the grain, trying to target higher forwards. And he probably thought, oh, ideally, I've found the 10. I'm going to barrel through him. Tom Ramos grabs him, okay, with a couple of Toulouse forwards, drives him back 5 yards on the scramble defence. After a line break, it was brilliant. And that was a key moment. Cardiff scored there, they're back in the game. And I thought, you look at the small things in that game that you think, scrum went well. Scrum really did go well. I thought Carré scrimmaged really well. Azarati scrimmaged really well. I thought Azarati had a very good game, actually. Then you look elsewhere, there were threats. Mackenzie Martin was superb, scores a try. Teddy Williams was everywhere, it seemed like, in the first 20 minutes. It was the sort of performance that you went, oh, fair play. Like Cardiff are coming here to really contest. It's not just chuck the ball around and hope for the best and get a bonus point if we can. It was, we've come to really compete, see if we can test this Toulouse side that haven't actually tearing up trees in top Qatar, so why don't we test them out? And unfortunately, small bits of play just weren't right. Little handling errors and that sort of thing as well played a part. There was a couple of moments where Mason Grady, beats 2 or 3 defenders, which is just what Mason Grady does, and then knocks the ball on afterwards, which you talk about net gains and net losses, is a net loss. So yeah, I looking at that first 20 minutes, there's a lot to be really hopeful for and proud of. And then the wheel, funny enough, straight after Mackenzie Martin's try is when the wheels sort of didn't quite turn as well. That kick exit. I don't know if you're about to ask about it, but kick exit was one that really frustrated me. I think I mentioned it on the wrap, but you've just got to try. You take it up into a ruck, then the ball comes back about 10 yards to your fly half, who's got your whole pack inside of him on the left-hand side of the field, and he's kicking to the right-hand side of the field with a centre and a wing basically on a 2-up against Toulouse, against Tom Ramos, who this year has been one of, if not the best counter-attackers in world rugby. And you're saying to Ben Thomas, who is a good defender, but not, he hasn't played that much international rugby, so he's up against Tom Ramos having to make a 1-up tackle. And yet, he misses the tackle, the kick's too far, a bit aimless. Tom Ramos runs back in, offloads back into Blake Kinghorn, who scores his lovely first try in Toulouse colours and has his celebratory moment. It was just too easy. If there was a try in that game that frustrated me, it was that one, because it was just very un-Cardiff like this season, to be honest. Too easy. And I overall, that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I was like, do you know what? Good performance. And you're 24 points to 7 down, but that's what Toulouse do. And you can't be surprised at that. But I was actually really impressed with the performance for 25 minutes, and some of those players played really well.
And it was quite a young squad as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we banged on and on about this year that we're going to bring young players through, and we've got to be prepared for a bit of development and all of this kind of stuff. But for me, the bit missing from Cardiff now is leadership. Somebody to say, actually, right, from here, from this kickoff, let's just screw this down a little. Let's put it back in touch. Let's do the simple things. Let's not try and go for the kick for the wrong side of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And I think scramble defence is again, it's led by somebody screaming at you on the pitch and having that desire on the pitch and that attitude, up next, come on, do you know what I mean? So is that what's missing? Is that the key to unlock everything else in Cardiff at the minute? A bit more leadership on the pitch?
Yeah, I think that's crucial. I think that's massive. You look at that back row, you're missing, Shane Lewis, who's back, who has a bit of experience, but has been, through various reasons, has not played as much rugby in the last couple of seasons as he or Cardiff fans would have liked. So apart from that, you have De La Rua on his debut start in the back row. You have Mackenzie Martin. They're both 20 or younger. That's a young back row going up against Jalanche and Flamand. Good luck. I mean that not disparaging it at all to either. I just said Mackenzie Martin had a superb game, but I think they said it on the wrap that it was the worst possible time almost for Ellis Jenkins to get suspended, because you look at Toulouse and to a lesser extent Bath. What do they thrive off? Quick ball. And who's your key player to stop quick ball? Well, you're seven. And what does sevens thrive off other than athletic ability, which I dare say De La Rua is probably a match for Ellis Jenkins, but it's that know-how, that bit of dark art, some might call it streetwise, to slow the ball legally and illegally and get away with it. And it's that, if you've got an Ellis Jenkins, one, I dare say he might get rewarded a bit more just because he's Ellis Jenkins versus De La Rua. That is a thing. Whether it should or not be, it just is a thing. I dare say he probably times his efforts better because he's got that experience, and he probably knows how to get away with a little hand slowing the ball down here, a little foot just grabbing the ball back when he's, and it's those little things that would have a huge impact on the game. I'm not saying it would have reduced the score that much, but it would have slowed down Toulouse's ball. And then you add on the leadership element, which anyone's seen that scrum five, like we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but he has that ability to just give clarity. And he showed that, the clarity he offers to Mackenzie Martin and that line-out moment that Scrum 5 shows, that he just turned to Mackenzie Martin and said, well, you're the plus one and pull out. That's all he needed to know. He just went, you're the plus one and pull out. You don't need to know the rest of the move. Don't worry about it. That's not, and not out of disrespect, just to tell him, that's your job. Do it to your best ability, lead the defenders off, and then bang, we score. It's no coincidence that when Josh Turnbull comes back, Ellis Jenkins' leadership like that, Cardiff win a crucial game against the Stormers. It's not coincidence. It has been missing the leadership. That back row is still missing of both of them. Still missing a Fatab. Look at that back row that's missing. Thomas Young is unavailable. So it's difficult. But
there's a lot of quality in that back row that is not on the pitch at the minute. I mean, there's virtually two international back rows that are not on the pitch. And that's for anything. That's just greedy, to be honest. The fact that you've got that many there, you should share them around a bit more. But do you know what I mean? That's a massive dent into your side when that's where your quality is, and that's where you're looking to build your game around. Cardiff build that game around quick turnover ball, an aggressive out wide defence that can turn the ball into a turnover and a decent attacking opportunity, and then you've got them all either sat at home on a ban or sat in the physio's room going mini. It's yeah.
And your back rows are what stop the opposition. It's no coincidence that the last 2 games it's the fly half that have been man of the match. It's not a coincidence. The reason Johan Lloyd is a very good player, and I'm not just simplifying it, but the reason he has so much space to do as what he did against Cardiff was because our 7 was off the pitch. So you haven't got Ellis Jenkins putting him under pressure. Not saying that Johan Lloyd couldn't have got out of that pressure. We've seen his footwork, but at the same time, it did make things easier. Similarly, okay, you did have a full backer on the weekend, but maybe if you've got a bit more of an experienced head in there, maybe you get a bit more pressure on Ramos. Maybe you lay on him, bordering on late, just to that sort of
just
thing.
To let him know.
Exactly, the classic retaliation in first. Maybe not quite Paul Ringer-esque, but something bordering on. But you also maybe get a bit more pressure on Dupont, who had he's ridiculous and otherworldly and all that sort of thing. But you maybe managed to get a bit more pressure on him. It was great seeing Shane Lewis-Hughes in a 6 jersey again, but let's be honest, it's at the expense of Alex Mann, who, I think it was last week or the week before, we were talking about being our forward so far of the season. So that's the frustration, and that's the difficulty at the moment, is if you're losing so many players in that back row, it's about getting those players through and getting those players playing regularly, because that back row has never played with each other before. When are they going to play with each other again? I don't know. Because Mackenzie Martin's going to be an absolute all-star. I'm not got no qualms about, no doubts about that. He's quality. Delarue is an absolute quality 7. Shane Lewis-Hughes is an international 6. Let's not forget that, and has been showing his quality in the second row this season. But when you've got players to come back off the quality that Cardiff have got, with the added experience and the leadership that we've mentioned has been missing, it's a problem at the moment, but a good problem to have long term. That's the best thing, And the ridiculousness of it is this is also a side that lost Josh Navidi last year, as Faletau out long term injured. It's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers. But it was probably one area that was noticeable on the weekend, that the opposition had a bit too much time and space. I think that's fair to say.
If Cardiff had a 7-a-side team and it was just made up of back row players, it would be awesome. And they wouldn't get injured so much then, and they could play in all the nice sunny places. They could be in Las Vegas and Dubai and Hong Kong, sunny places where it's lovely and warm and there's a beach and all that kind of stuff. I think that would solve a lot of your issues. Go from playing 15s to play 7s, get rid of the rest of the squad, just keep your back rows, and go play 7s. Have a bit of fun.
Hold on, Grady's getting in there. Imagine Grady on a 7 circuit.
Yeah, I put him at 10. I put him at outside half or first receiver, whatever we call it now, at 7s. Just so you've got like the big one as first receiver, and just go give it to him and just let him run, and that will sort your back line out. Do you know what I mean?
Love to see Cam win it as well. I'm getting excited about it. Maybe this is something Harley and I need to do for next week. Cardiff Rugby 7-a-side team. What would it be? No, I'm definitely.
But you'd have to have a token prop in there, so just as a token. Do you know what I mean? There'd have to be a token prop in there. You'd have to have like a Reece Carey or something.
What do you mean token? Reece Carey's getting in on merit, mate.
And there's your issue. Yeah, I reckon a Cardiff 7 side. So going back to normality, who stood out for you I mean, when you're losing 52-7, it's hard to pick out, this player was amazing because the scoreboard tells you well differently. But who were the standout players for Cardiff that maybe, let's say, didn't get the kind of the recognition that they probably deserved on TV?
Yeah, Mackenzie Martin got the recognition, I think, on the weekend, and he fully deserved it. That's the first obvious win to name. He has been a breath of fresh air, even though we mentioned the back row difficulties. He's been brilliant since he's come in. Looked brilliant in pre-season. Has been brilliant whenever he's played. So fair play to him. He did not look out of place against a Toulouse back row that had Chant and Flamand. That's the biggest praise I think I can give. And then you go into other players. I thought Teddy Williams, honestly, the guy looks a different level to the player that left at the end of last season to go to the Wales squad. He looks fitter. He looks gnarlier. I don't know. I don't know if that's not a word. I know it's not. I'm not being assistant journalist today.
Does he just sit there and look in the mirror and go, I'm going to see if I can look meaner now when I come.
But it's what Cardiff needed. That's the best part. Is you look at it and you think what Cardiff second row has been accused of, and it's probably being a bit too nice since Bradley Davis left. I couldn't tell you who was the tough nut, horrible second row. Seb's a brilliantly athletic, talented footballer. Rory Thornton's a good line-out operator, but I wouldn't have said they're horrible players. And I think Teddy's starting to become a horrible player, and he's got the athletic qualities as well. And then to add this into his game, I think is brilliant. I thought his ball carrying was superb on the weekend. He was making multiple efforts. His tackling was very good. His cover defense was good. I just thought he was superb for, in a losing side. I thought he was played as pretty much as well as you could expect. And then you look at that front row. The front row went really well for the first, most of the game, to be honest, where winning penalties, winning scrums. Okay, there were a couple of early shoves, whether that was Toulouse falling off, whether that was Cardiff pushing early, I could not tell you. I don't think anyone can tell you other than the 6 men that were involved or the 12 men by the end. But it was, I thought the scrum was solid. And then Tinas de Beer, I've been pretty critical of in the past in some ways, in that he tends to go missing for 10 minutes or has a habit of having a couple of moments where he just doesn't quite hit the same straps as he does for the rest of the game. I thought for his 60 minutes on the pitch, he was very good. One kick aside, okay. But as mentioned, that's probably more of a structural thing than a individual error thing, in my opinion. But I thought he was very good, showed some great gas for some line breaks. Would be nice to get a bit more support play around him for those sort of moments. If he's going to make the half break he makes, dare say maybe if Gareth Davis is scrum half, he's already on the half turn, ready to get on that in the inside. Maybe that's something that can be worked on, getting that support play in quicker. All in all, there were a lot of good performances. There were players, Jacob Beetham playing fullback against a Toulouse side that has Blair Kingpon and Tom Ramos. What an experience for him, coming through. Okay, he had the odd error. He had the odd moment, but he was mostly solid, did his job and made some really good calls defensively at times, stopped a couple of tries, to be fair. There were plenty of individually good performances and plenty of good team areas, like the scrum, as I mentioned. The line-out wasn't that much of a problem. Maybe second half it deteriorated a bit after substitutions and stuff, but I wasn't too disheartened despite the scoreline. And maybe that's a sad realization of the fact at the moment of that's where Welsh rugby is versus French rugby, or the top of French rugby. But I still thought the overall performance wasn't too bad despite individual errors at times. And Mason Grady was still swatting away players for fun. So he's doing that against Scarlett and against Toulouse. So that's it doesn't matter who he's playing against. I just thought I'd get a little jibe in
But
there because
and
why
yet
not?
he ended up on the losing side in all 3 games. So what's to say there? I need to remember I'm on the Cardiff podcast, don't I? And not I'm not going to rise to your bait is what I'm not going to do, mate. So yeah. So a couple of things that I was jotting down. Okay, so one, Mackenzie Martin here. I mean, I mean, there's a mullet, and that I don't know how to describe his hair because it's almost mullet-esque, but then it kind of disappears into some kind of hedge on top that
Yeah.
I'm impressed with on a certain level, though the fact that the guy can carry it off and can be quite proud of the fact. But then when he goes to the hairdressers, I'm assuming he goes to a hairdresser's, by the way, it's not his mum, does it? What on earth do you ask for when you're sat in the chair? What on earth do you ask for when you've got a hair like that?
I feel like neither of us at this point are having similar haircuts and haircuts at that, which is I don't know if you order the same thing, which is maybe a 3 on the sides and then take a bit off the top.
I,
So,
it's summer's coming. Make it a number 2, if you will. Thank you very much.
yeah.
That's about as close as it gets.
Or as I did once, I'll have a 1 on the side. Barbara looks at me and goes, "You sure?" I go, "No, I'll have a 2."
I went for a haircut once, right? Genuinely, and like it wasn't my normal hairdresser that I've been going to for 20 years or whatever, and I happened to be somewhere else. I need a haircut, right? Okay, jumping around, so yeah, usual stuff. And I said, and take it as short as you can on top, please. And I swear to God, she turned round to me and said, "I'll leave a little bit on there to cover the thinning." What? You'll do what? and and she was lovely and stuff. She was quite young. Yeah, just leave a little bit. I think she thought she was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, haven't been back there since on that. But yeah.
If we're on this, I once got refused a haircut, which was no
How'd you get
fault.
refused?
Long story short, I lost a bet, so I had to dye my hair blonde because that's what guys in the uni do.
Yep.
And I was told it was non-permanent dye. Very much not the case. And basically, I'd got to the stage where it was just bleach blonde, horrible. I'll find a way of sending a photo or something. But it was a horrible bleach blonde, and I wanted to get it out. And I went into a barber's in down by Buffalo. What's it called? The posh one down by Old Buffalo. Do you know what I'm on about? By the church in Cardiff Centre. Anyway, someone will know what that is.
But when you
And
phrase it as the posh one, mate, that's me out straight away. That's not me.
I walked in and the guy was like, "So what can we do you for?" And I was like, "Well, I was wearing a beanie because also I was carrying it up. Like, any chance you could mend this, take it off?" And they start laughing at me. I go, "Sorry, that's not something we can do."
My lord.
And they went, "Come back to us when it's all grown out."
Oh. Well, I will be fair that when I bleached my hair, I was also in Cardiff, but I didn't do it for a day. I just did it cause. So I think we should have a competition to see if who can find a photo with bleached hair first. So if anyone's got any photos of Carwyn with bleached hair, and if any of my mates can find any photos of me with bleached hair, let's have them because that'll be. I had a goatee when I had bleached hair, so I had a black goatee and like bleached hair.
That is
Yeah.
strong. That's Edward Norton sort of vibes, isn't it? Wasn't that his look for a bit?
Well, to be fair, at the time I was about 19 and a half, 20 stone of solid muscle. So I don't think anybody was really going to tell me to not Well, they go, oh, I like your hair. I like the look, Lee. Yeah, looks great, mate. Carry on. One of those things. And I just had a whole load of ID done with no goatee and dark hair. And
Oh
then
God.
I'm trying to get into nightclubs and they go, have you got any ID? Yeah. And they go, like, looks nothing like you. Oh, no, it doesn't, does it? No, the beard, the hair looks absolutely nothing like me. But there we go. So yeah, let's move on and discuss Harley's absence. Taking a week off just before Christmas, week away with the wife and kids. Come on, Harley. I mean, and then he's sending us photos of a variety of beers that he's drinking. This is my beer of the week. Fella, come on. I mean, that's shocking. You need to give him some real serious hell next week when he comes back, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Liam's already prepped with about 6 questions, so we're going to run through all of those next week. I think he's got given him a few questions to answer, whether it be some really good ones actually. So we've got questions to answer, both me and him, I think, and yeah, I'll wind Harley up about that. It's shameful, to be honest. You know, it's almost like he looked at the result and went, "Don't fancy that one this week."
Almost, yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost because it's strange that because Jamie did exactly the same thing when the Dragons played. Gosh, who was it? As one of the South
Shocked.
African sides. Yeah, so I think it might have been actually. And it was like, oh, I can't make it this week. Oh no, it was Leinster. That's what it was. It's Dragons Leinster. we spent 20 minutes going. Newport are going to get absolutely tonked. They're going to get stuffed this weekend. And Jamie went, yeah, I'm not here next week, by the way, boys. Strange that. So yeah, Harley needs he needs a forfeit. Harley is still shirking his Babycham fine from the rap pod. He owes us a Babycham. We introduced the Babycham fine for anyone who I can't remember. I think it was just if we wanted to tuck someone up and for doing something stupid in the week, we'd find them a Babycham. So for the drink of the week had to be a Babycham. So I think next week on the Cardiff pod, he has to have a Babycham, a Babycham fine because it'll be Christmas. So yeah, there you go.
Sounds good.
Right, let's talk the coming game then, mate. Bath. First off, Bath 8 o'clock Saturday night. Normally Saturday night 8 o'clock kickoff would be a bit of a bit of a downer, but I think this one's going to work in your favour. I think the crowd is going to be absolutely bouncing. Everyone's going to be on the session from about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time you get to 8, you'll just be at the fun bit. You'll be at the fun, excited. Let's just shout at everything and cheer everything. And I genuinely think that's going to work in your favour this week. So
Yeah, I think the good, the bad, and the ugly of every rugby shapes, form, and size are going to be there. And I think, yeah, some of the best days of Parc Carabao. I've just come off the Welsh pod, that's why. Cardiff Park days. Have been against these big sides. Be it Sale, be it Leinster, be it Stormers twice. That's just recent years. These big results that happen at the Cardiff Arms Park, and I I realised I was a bit negative on the rap. I think Harley messaged me saying that my prediction wasn't the best. But this is a proper Bath unit. This isn't the Bath side that came a few years ago, and I jested on the pod and joked about it. But a couple of seasons ago, I went down to Parc Scarlets and they lost quite convincingly, didn't they? And I think it's a much improved outfit. It's got a pack that work together and are a unit, and as individual players, by the way, are brilliant. Benik Abano at loose head. You've got your Underhill, Barbieri at the back row. You've got your two solid second rows in, I think it's Stuke and Ellis, isn't it? Or it was maybe actually, sorry. And then no, it's not it was. Ewells? Yeah, that might be right. And then you add in your back division, which is just brilliant. I love Ben Spencer as a 9. I think you've got your Finn Russell, Redpath, Lawrence, Cockney Seeger, and Muir on the wings. it's a really quality outfit that are performing well, that like throwing the ball around. Then that are facing a Cardiff side that like throwing the ball around. Both sides, let's be honest, probably known more for their attack than the defence, especially the backs. And I'm really excited for it. I think the weird one is trying to work out what sort of game I'd want to see, because if as a neutral, we want everyone to throw the ball around, but as a Cardiff, on the Cardiff pod, supporting the Cardiff team, wanting the Cardiff players to do well, do you want a open, expansive game that does play into Cardiff hands, but also probably plays into Bath's hands? I'm not sure, because all those big results that I've named have been when the forwards have fronted up and it's been tight, horrible affairs. Let's be honest about it. They haven't been score fests. Maybe Leinster, one of the better ones, but it's been tight, horrible. Sale, especially. Think about how horrible that game was. Really, it was just two packs just going at it pretty much for the whole 80 minutes. And I don't know. The pack is an interesting one, because I think front five, although they've got individual players and they are scrummaging as a unit and working as a unit, it's not something I'm that afraid about. It's not like I'm trying to think. It's not like a La Rochelle pack coming down. Let's put it that way. It's not that sort of front five size. So I'm thinking, yeah, Azarati could take that on. Domachowski, Carey could both take it on if Carey's fit. Teddy on his performances, Seb has been playing well as well. Take that on with anything. The back row, yeah, they've got real agility and gas, and I don't know. It's a really difficult one to call how you'd play this game. I think keep it tight and try and take advantage of any mistakes rather than throwing the ball around as we did against the Bulls, and came unstuck a bit there in that game. So I expect a very different Cardiff performance this weekend than I saw out in Toulouse. And the big difference is this is a game Cardiff will have targeted and think they can win. And I don't think they're wrong to think that at all. Just that this Bath side are probably flying much quicker than anyone expected. I don't think anyone expected them to be that good this year. I think they were expecting maybe next year to be the year Bath kicked into gear, or the end of this year. But if Finn Russell's hit the ground running for them, so yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be a real test. I just do favour Bath. I think Bath are favourites, and I do fancy them. But it's I said the same for Stormers. I said the same. I would have said the same for Leicester. I said the same for Sale. So yeah, I think any Cardiff fan would be saying, "Bring it on."
So Cardiff have said today that Tamani is fit and available for the game on Saturday. Where do you bring him in? You can't leave him not playing, can you? Realistically, you need a player like that. Yeah, we were talking earlier about leadership. He provides the kind of leadership that says, follow me, watch what I do more of this sort of a thing. He's that kind of guy, and he brings a physical element to the game. I think he's been playing quite well at number 8, in all honesty. I think he's been doing what you need a number 8 to do in certain games, which is give 5-10 meters for every time he's got the ball. So do you bring him in at 8? Do you bring him in at 6? You're sticking back in the second row. Where do you put him?
So it's a really good point, actually. I'm glad you said that, to remind me of something I thought during the game and forgot to mention, which was when I was watching Mackenzie Martin, I thought he's done some brilliant things, but towards the second half, I wanted him to just have that Xavier Rush thing of, I'm the guy who's going to take you forward 5 yards. I'm the guy who's going to do the job. It's me. I'm your number 8. I'm your primary ball carrier. I'm going to do it. And, he's, 19, 20? He's not going to be doing that yet. I fully appreciate that. But that's the development moment, that he has 20 moments a game or 20 carries a game versus 10 moments or 10 carries a game. That's the development process. And that's what Tamani has been doing. He's been carrying the ball a lot. Yeah, he's also knocked the ball on a lot. Let's be honest about it. He has made a few errors, but it's because he's always prepared to do it. Doesn't matter if he knocks the ball on. He's gone, right, oh, I've knocked the ball on there. Okay, next time. There we go. And that comes, that's a form of leadership. That's, what was it, Ted Lasso, be a goldfish. That's the sort of, you forget your 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes, you just carry on, because that's your job. Your job is to carry the ball.
Yeah.
You've made a mistake there, but make up for it next with the next carry. And he has been brilliant this year. Yeah, I don't want to say bring him straight in at 8 for Mackenzie, because Mackenzie's been playing really well. But on the flip side of that, he's a player that would be nice to see on the pitch. And on the form that he's playing in, you could put him at 6, but if Man is fit, which I'm not 100% sure if he is, it'd be nice to see him back. I also, I'm more than happy to see Shane Lewis-Hughes have some more game time at 6. So, yeah, I'd say bring Tamani in at 8. And then the great thing with Tamani is that he can play second row, play 6. And if you've then got a Mackenzie Martin off the bench for 20 minutes of just raw, I'm just going to crash bang my wall up and break through about 16 tackles in one play, I'm not going to complain at that at all. I think, and then move. You've got your Swiss Army knives in Turnbull and Tamani to cover in any eventualities that there may arise. So, yeah, I think Tamani comes back in, although with a heavy heart. I think maybe a big heavy. I think everyone is grown to love Mackenzie Martin over the past of the 3 weeks, and it's quite testament to the young lad that he's got this almost cult following after such an impressive 3 performances.
There'll be Mackenzie Martin wigs by the other side of Christmas, mate. Mark my words on it. You'll be able to buy, and what they call it, Christ only knows, but you'll be able to buy Mackenzie Martin wigs. I don't know why we can't buy Steph Evans wigs yet with a mullet and a rat tail. I don't sure why that's not caught on. Maybe I'm just not down with the kids anymore, but I'm convinced that there will be a Mackenzie Martin. So
does it come with a complimentary yellow card, or is that just
it comes in a yellow pack, and you just get used to seeing the colours.
So, oh, that was cheap, wasn't it? It was so cheap. Sorry.
So before we do predictions and wrap up and all of that kind of stuff for tonight, just want to mention a couple of things that we've got coming for Cardiff and the Rap podcast and all that kind of stuff. So I can't say what it is, but there's a surprise coming on Sunday. And there's a surprise coming on Sunday that will take everybody through Christmas, because we're not going to be here over Christmas. Because we tried doing it last Christmas. We tried doing this last Christmas with just the rap pod. And trying to get, there were 4 of us, so trying to get 4 of us in the same place at the same time, sober, coherent, and having watched all of the games, nigh on impossible. So, and then we did it, and nobody listened because nobody was in work and they were all spending time with their family. It took us hours and hours and hours of organization to get it in. So we're going to go, right, okay, we'll do next week's pods. So it'll be the same for Cardiff. So we'll do next week's pod as well. And we can have a little bit of a break till after the new year. Yeah. So, but there's something coming on Sunday that will be special, and it will be on it'll be on YouTube, and there'll be something special for Cardiff fans, and there'll be like general ones and all that kind of stuff. So everybody keep your eyes open for it. Go and find our YouTube channel now and like and subscribe, because once you get to 500 subscribers, YouTube likes you, and it starts giving you money for all the adverts that get shown. So you've got to wait until you've got 500 subscribers before you can get any money for adverts, but they're taking the money for the adverts that are there now. I'm not bitter about these things. I'm not bitter. Granddad needs a new set of cans for Christmas, but we'll cope. We'll cope. So yes. Anyway, that's coming, and so next week we'll cover all of the derbies. So you guys have obviously got Dragons and then Ospreys, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah. So I think you're at home against the Dragons and then away against Ospreys, and yeah, because Ospreys are with us, so yeah, they'd be at home against you. Yeah. Okay. So that's what's coming. That's to keep an eye on, and if anybody in the meantime wants to send Harley some abuse for daring to take a week off and then come back for a week and then have another 2 weeks off again, well, you crack on. You have my support for sending him as much insults and accusations as you want. You crack on. I'll support you on that. Right. let's get back to the Bath game then, and let's get some predictions from you. Scores, yellow cards, red cards, type of game. How many people will get kicked out for being drunk and disorderly, running around pretending to be a mascot? Well, let's get all your predictions out in one.
So I think risking the wrath of Harley again because he's already sent me a message criticising this prediction. But I'm going to say Bath, but maybe I'll say by 6, because I think it is going to be tight. I think Cardiff will be in the game. I just don't know. This Bath side seems to be on a roll. It's a huge game for Bath as well. I don't think that can be overstated because in recent years, I think it's fair to say they have been seen as a bit of a soft touch. Sides have gone down there and smashed them. Sides they've also had good periods. Don't forget, like the George Ford era, and they had good periods then, but sometimes had a soft underbelly and could fall off. And in Europe especially, not be the side that perhaps they were in the league. I just think this is maybe a little bit of a better iteration of Bath than it has been in previous seasons. I do think it's maybe, considering the injuries, considering the back row that's missing, it might be a bit of a difficult task for Cardiff to win. I'm more than happy to be proved wrong in that. And I think Harley will rub it in my face if Cardiff do prove me wrong. But I just do see it being a really tough game and a good game. And we mentioned all the drunks and everyone else. Everyone get down to the Cardiff Arms Park because it is going to be a big game on the weekend and really excited one. Definitely one to watch and definitely not one to miss out on. But people have been sharing clips of games gone, games from years by, seeing Mike Catt and I think it was Gus Scott in a Bath jersey down at the Cardiff Arms Park. Wasn't bad to see. So I don't know. I was going to compare Catt and Gus Scott to Finn Russell and Redpath, and that just doesn't sit as well with me actually. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
With less international success. They are the Mike and Gus Scott less international success. There we go. Let's anger the Scottish fans as well. It's the Scarlet ones. But yeah, it is a really exciting team to look out for, and there are some pure international sides for both teams, and I'm excited to see how. I'm interested to see how Martinez Beer stands up because I didn't think he, although Tomo Ramos won player of the match and was superb, I didn't think he looked out of place in that one. How does he go against Finn Russell defensively? I've been really impressed with Beer. I don't think he's been lacking in that area at all. So see how he goes in that fixture up against Redpath and Lawrence, and I assume Lawrence is going to come down his channel pretty early. If you're Bath, that's what you're going to look at, isn't it? Going to go young newcomer 10, just run down his throat. So yeah, excited. Look forward to it. Bring a pint, have a good laugh, and enjoy everyone's Christmases. And hopefully Cardiff can prove me wrong and leave us with a last win before Christmas.
Okay, so So you're predicting Bath by how many points?
6.
6. Okay. So, I've listened to what you've had to say there. And I'm not saying that you're talking out your arse or anything, but I'm actually going to go for a Cardiff win. For no other reason that I'm on a Cardiff podcast, and why would you do anything else? No, I genuinely think that you'll have a really, really full ground. And I'm going to throw this out there now to see how many people are listening. Antlers are the hair piece of choice for this weekend. So a nice big kind of antlers there. So when you're nodding and they're doing all of this kind of stuff, I think that's what you need. You need plenty of them. You need to make it a fun kind of experience. You need to make it enjoyable for the crowd. So it's just constant. Do you know what I mean? It is when the Cardiff crowd are alive, it's constant and it feels like they're right on top of you because it's just the way that the ground is. So I think if that happens, then the players sense it, and the players kind of, when we were talking earlier about that scramble defence, that having that crowd, that constant crowd noise is enough to get you up and going. That constant crowd noise gives you that emphasis to go those extra 5 meters. That noise gives you that, we talk about Chamani taking it and, okay, I might knock it on, right, get up, I'm going to go do it again, I'm going to go do it again, I'm going to go do it again. And it'll affect the ref and it'll affect everything. So, yeah, for that reason and that reason alone, I think Bath will get just put off by it because, they might be used to playing in front of bigger crowds and all that, but they're quite quiet crowds. They're only up when Bath are playing well and all that kind of stuff, and the rest of the time they're on the bloody prosecco and scones in the hospitality, So yeah, get down there, make some noise, get your antlers on, bring the drums, bring the trumpets, just shout, just get in their faces and shout. And you know what? You're not there to be you're not commentating on the telly. You don't need to be an independent and neutral type of person. Get in their faces and shout. You're there to support Cardiff and let the boys know, because I genuinely feel Cardiff by 10 is doable. Genuinely, without, if you can make it happen, this is when it's going to happen. And it'll be a big springboard to go on. And the only good thing you've got from that is that you don't have to play the Scarlets for the rest of the season. So, your bogey side is gone.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid that one. Well, you never know. But yeah, I was just thinking there when you said about the we should bring chants into rugby, and the only one I can think of was you've got a crap Christmas market, walking in the winter wonderland.
Yeah, I think
you've got a crap Christmas market walking in a Cardiff wonderland. If someone can sing that and get it near a mic, I'd listen to
that. So we've now got antlers, drums, trumpets, any musical instrument, and you've got a crap Christmas market walking in the Cardiff wonderland. Okay, well, there we go. Let's see how influential the pod is. I will be watching the game with it'll be like, they're not really fussed about what's on the pitch. I just want to see what's going on in the crowd, But,
yeah. One question for you, Lee, before we finish, because everything Cardiff Rugby and Football on Twitter sent us a good question, which I promise we will answer next week, which was if Cardiff could take one player from each region, who would we take? I promise Harley and I will answer it next week. But as we've got Leon from the Scarlets Pods, I'll ask him from the Cardiff perspective, who would you take for the Scarlets team? Who would you take from Cardiff Rugby? And none of this, I wouldn't take anyone, because
you're welcome to Steph Evans if you want him. Purely for the haircut. I think, it's hard at the minute because the obvious one is Johan Lloyd from the Scarlets, but we've actually got we've got strength in depth at 10 at the minute with there's 3, 4. We've got Dinky Jones out, we've got Costello out, and we've got Tits coming through as well. So that is a position of strength at the minute. In all honesty, I'd say Gareth Davis from the Scarlets. And I know you got a whole load of guys. Oh no, we got Thomas Williams, but at the minute, just on form, he's the guy to take. Ospreys, given your back row options, that's where they kind of excelling at the minute is back row. Given his performance last weekend, I'd take Derry Lake just because he can throw a ball straight. And you boys, I think you must train on a wonky pitch or something, because throwing a ball in straight to a line out and see the guys in the blue and black shirts. Yeah.
After working on the Scarlets game of the weekend, I'm not taking that.
We're not talking about the Scarlets, man. We're talking about Cardiff. Yeah, we're talking. We're just. But yeah, I'd say Derry Lake could be the one position that you could really do something with in a line out. And then Dragons, who do you take from the Dragons? That's a tough one on his own, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, again, Wainwright is the outstanding player. And Basham, I like Basham just because he's your resident psycho. But I mean, you guys have got your cupboard full of those. But I'd find a position. I'd stick him at fullback. I'd stick him at scrum half. I'd stick Basham at full scrum half just so we can run at people and just
old school Mike sort of.
Yeah, just kind of like. And then you've got Gareth Davis to back him up when he gets sent off after 20 minutes for headbutting the referee or something So, yeah, that's my 3. There's my 3, mate.
And who would you take from Cardiff as a Scarlets fan?
A Scarlets fan, yeah, I mean, your back row is totally stocked. So Thomas Young for me is just a game breaker. He just does things on a pitch that are, as a back row player myself, I just love watching him, because you just go, he's going to turn up somewhere, and what's he doing there, and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think probably, at the minute the front row is the weak area for Scarlets. But then we have got younger players coming through, so it's having, maybe, I don't know, maybe bringing one of your props down would give us a little bit of a help. But yeah, it's going to be something like that. I'm not going to put too much thought into it, mate, because I know what will happen. It'll get onto social media, and all of a sudden it'll be less Kickley again. So I've had enough of that for this week. Thank you very much. So,
but you wasn't saying I was tempting it. But what is your Twitter again? No. It's fair what you say about Thomas Young. Like last season, obviously, probably Cardiff's player of the season by a fair distance, I think. He's brilliant, I thought, last season, but this season hasn't really featured. Started, I think, 1 game, maybe 2 games. So it has been obviously out with injury and things like that, but also just not selected. And it's a bit of a surprise, but at the same time, when you've got 6 options at 7, you've got a bit of a tombola, and well, to use the Scottish Rugby Pod's term for it, but yeah, they call it Tui Tombola, don't they? The selection, but yeah, a bit of bingo to pick up whoever's going to be selected. So yeah, I can understand that one, and yeah, I'll take what you said on board about the other players. I don't know if I'll take from Scarlets. I'm still struggling on that one, but yeah, I think it's an interesting question worth answering, and we'll see what we come up with next week.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So I'm going to go and abuse Harley some more. I'm just going to, why he gets a week off a week before Christmas, just unacceptable. So it's been a pleasure tonight, mate, having a chat. It's been great, and yeah, I shall be watching the Cardiff game on Saturday. I'm watching the crowd at the bare minimum. So, yeah, have a good one, mate. Enjoy it. And I will catch up with you again soon. All the best.
Yeah, all the best, yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Cardiff Central podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question is, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.